You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a great opportunity. If you have an event, product, business, talent, and/or something important to say, now is your chance. You can have your very own radio show. Whether you're just starting out or a veteran looking for a professional platform to enhance your presentation and following, the GoPro Radio Network is the premier place to cultivate and share new and exciting content. We can help you grow your audience and keep it growing long after your first broadcast. Now you have a voice. Call 646-415-0990 or go to www.goproradio.com. That's www.goproradio.com. You'll be amazed at how easy and affordable it is to have your own professional radio show on the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
Potential. Everyone's got potential, right? But it will remain just that unless you act on it. You've got to do something new.
You got this.
To get somewhere new.
Let me see. Dad, have a look.
Is it scary?
Be fine.
Sure. But potential never fades. It simply waits for the day you use it. So go on, make that one day today.
Whether you're growing your business,
Okay, can we take our seats, please?
switching careers, or just starting out, it all starts with skills. Search Skills for Life.
My name is Terrell Martin. I'm a New York City union carpenter. A lot of people who were born here can't afford it. At my old job, like most regular non-union jobs, all of your benefits are coming out of your check. As a union carpenter, I get to keep what I make, and my employer pays my benefits. If there's more union jobs in the city, there's more people getting paid to live where they work. Good jobs are essential to an affordable New York.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
Hi, I'm Shawnee, and whenever I want to listen to something profound and I'm having a moment, I go to GoPro Radio, the fastest growing network in the galaxy.
Logic is an enemy and truth is an enemy. Twilight Zone.
Welcome to another edition of the Tinfoil Afro Show. Did you miss us? I know we missed you. I know I miss Miss German Chocolate. Hi, Miss German Chocolate. She's in the house. How are you?
Hey,
Okay.
I'm doing well. Yes, not so tired today because it's not too late for me and also not too early. So I'm doing very well. And
Good.
thank you for the opportunity to be here again.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I look forward to our shows, folks. By the way, we moved to a new time. We're going to be releasing our episodes every Monday morning to meet you. at 8 o'clock in the a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You'll be able to catch us on the GoPro Radio's Facebook page and our YouTube channel, and also on my personal page. I'll have it up so folks can check us out, check out the new episodes, and don't forget to always go to GoPro Radio. Let that be your destination for the Tinfoil Afro Show here on the GoPro Radio Network. Oh, wow. Well, let's get into it. I want to definitely shout out the folks who've been writing to us. It's always great to get mail. It feels like we're reaching people when people reach out to us and say, hey, I like what you're doing. I like the show. And we got a couple of clips sent to us, and they wanted to get our feedback on it. So that's why we're going to be talking a little bit about something called the Simpson effect. Have you heard about that, the Simpson effect?
No, it's something that's new for me.
Yeah, well, it's a huge show here in the United States. I know you're in Germany. It's a show called The Simpsons. The Simpsons. I probably watched all but 2 episodes. I just don't like the art, and it's just jumping around, and the kid is kind of like annoying or whatever. But anyway, allegedly, like, this show has made so many accurate predictions that people are actually looking at their shows and seeing what's going to more than likely be true. Now, is this a coincidence that so many things that they've predicted on their shows have actually happened? Or is there something else afoot? I don't know. We're going to explore it, but let's play, I think, so that everybody can understand the context, because a lot of people who watch this show globally, believe it or not, might not even be aware of The Simpsons, and they've been around for quite some time, or might not, even if they're aware of The Simpsons, they might not be aware that The Simpsons has predicted quite a few world events. Yeah, they predicted some serious happenings in the world, like presidential elections and global catastrophes. They've even predicted who would win the Nobel Peace Prize. So, like I said, and when I say predictions, I'm using air quotes because, it could be coincidence, right? It could be, we don't know for sure. But anyway, let's check out some of the predictions that came true, and then we'll also see what some folks are saying might come true that The Simpsons has predicted. Okay, so let's check this out.
15 Simpsons predictions that came true. Number 15, Lady Gaga Super Bowl halftime show, season 23, episode 22. In the second episode of The Simpsons' 23rd season, the special guest star was Lady Gaga, who performed for the town while hovering in midair. Whether this inspired Gaga or not, this came uncannily true just 5 years later when she performed at the Super Bowl. She began by standing on the roof of the Houston NRG Stadium as she sang her opening song, and then, as the show continued, she flew down to the stage below with the assistance of wires, virtually in precisely the same way as she had done in Springfield. It remains one of the most acrobatic shows to ever take place at the Super Bowl, and was probably all thanks to The Simpsons. Number 14, the U.S.
But before we go to number 14, right, just about that, it could have been that she saw The Simpsons and then said, okay, I'm going to do a halftime show that looks like The Simpsons. Now, I don't know. You know what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yes, so this is the question.
I'm being skeptical or whatever. I don't know. If anybody knows, by the way, if you know the backstory, did Lady Gaga see the Simpsons episode and said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and wear a silver suit and do the same thing? Or was this just a very eerie prediction by the Simpsons show? So folks out there, if you have any information, if you're in the camp of Lady Gaga, and I know I have a lot of friends in the entertainment industry who might be able to send us some information and shed some light, because the question for me would be, did she see the Simpsons episode, right, and say, you know what, since this is a wildly popular show, I'm going to lean into wearing this silver suit and, hovering over the crowd and on these wires, and just add something to the value. Who knows? Maybe she's related to Fox, which is the network that produced this long-running program. Okay, what do you think about that?
I think the second option, what you said, that maybe she watched in the past, yes, the Simpsons, and got ideas. So I wouldn't say that was something that could be predicted. No.
Right,
So.
right. I mean, and to me, like even the reason why I'm discussing it is because just the sheer volume of how many predictions came true from this show. Like if that was just the one thing, like the Lady Gaga in the show, I would say, oh yeah, well she saw it and she probably was inspired by it, or someone in her camp. Even if she doesn't watch it, somebody can say, hey, I know about the show, and it's a very popular show, and they had you on the high wire, and let's do that. That could be possible as well. I mean, we're very analytical, critical thinking people. And we understand that all things are possible. So once again, if you have any information, send it to us at info@goproradio.com, info at goproradio.com, goproradio.com. And let us know what you think. And by the way, let us know what you think about our show. Definitely like and subscribe and share our content on YouTube. Hit the notification bell so you can be notified when we do specials, because Miss Chocolate and I decided to do shows like in between sometimes shows. When certain things happen, we may not do a full 1 hour show, but we'll definitely talk about something that may be timely for us to talk about, that enters into the realm of a possible conspiracy. Yeah. Okay, so here's another prediction. Let's go.
Hurling victory, season 21, episode 12. While the Olympics are open to representatives from every country in the world to take part in, there are some sports that some nations are so good at that it's a surprise if they don't take home the gold. One of these that happens at the Winter Olympics is curling, when the Swedes are almost always the favorites for the event. In the 12th episode of season 21 from 2010, Homer and Marge travel to the Vancouver Olympics, where they compete against Sweden in curling. Despite falling behind, they manage to cause an upset and win in the end. In 2018, life imitated art, and the U.S. men's team won in exactly the same way, only the second time ever that they had medaled in the event. Number 13, Disney's purchase of Fox, season 10, episode 5.
I just want to deal with that one too, right? And I'm playing two roles. I'm going to be the skeptic, right? And I'll say that if a team is always winning, right, eventually they're going to get beat. So if someone does a satirical piece when they lose, it might look like it's a prediction, but eventually they're going to lose, right? So if you had the Swedish team that was always winning, and let's say I did a cartoon where they lose, am I really being psychic? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe there could be some truth to this, but we're going to definitely dig deeper in it. So we're going to go past 13, and now. I was aware of this only because I'm in the entertainment industry, that you see this whole logo, 20th Century Fox, a division of Walt Disney Company.
Yes.
That really actually happened, and this probably is a little bit more airy, but yeah, let's check this out.
Disney has become one of the most powerful entertainment companies in the world and often buy out their competitors. When, in an episode from 1998, Homer goes to pitch a film idea to executives at Fox, it said beneath the company logo that it was a division of Disney. Most people thought it to be just a joke and that something like this would never happen. They were, of course, wrong. And in another example of The Simpsons predicting the future, Disney purchased the conglomerate in 2017 for a price of over $52 billion, bringing franchises like X-Men, Avatar, and The Simpsons under the control of the House of Mouse. Number 12.
I think that's interesting because but the Simpson series that predicted this merger put that clip into their show 4 years before it actually happened. However, I would say this, that if you are in the industry, right, mergers like this take place all the time. And there could be murmurings and people talking and negotiations. See, although the deal was done 4 years before this episode aired, right? Sometimes talks and negotiations takes years. So someone can say, yeah, we're talking about this merger, that one day Fox is going to buy, Universal or something, something like that, right? People are talking about how these conglomerates are always eating up each other. So, I on one hand, this could be another one of those predictions. But what was so eerie, though, is the logo. The logo that was used, let me see if I can go back. Yeah, it looks just like the logo that they're using now. So to me, that is more of a, this got my eyebrow up because this is what the 20th Century Fox logo actually
But do you
looks
think
like.
it was a prediction? This is again, you brought a good point because, okay, these guys, when they create, yes, this kind of shows, right? They have a lot of folks working behind that, right? People who do research about businesses. There's something clear, psychologists, they have a lot of people working behind. And in the United States is a capitalist country, right? Where companies are merging with other companies all the time. I also wouldn't say, even if they didn't have any insider information, people who do a market analysis, right? They have an idea who will join to who or something like that. It's just a kind of business analysis, and they have certain folks who are working behind that to have this series and to bring this history or these stories like to a real life. So I wouldn't say it's a prediction.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be even more mergers where it's going to be like only one company, maybe BlackRock, right?
Yeah.
Be, one owner that owns everything, right? Owns all the news, or that's the nature of capitalism. Okay,
Right.
Let's go to the next clip. The prediction that involves Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Okay.
Okay, here it is.
In the episode titled Bart to the Future, which was first aired in 2000, we see what the future of The Simpsons was like, with Lisa as the president in the White House and Bart as a failed musician. The idea behind the episode was that the vision was warning to Bart that he needed to change his ways to prevent wasting his life. But were The Simpsons writers instead warning us, the viewers, of something else? In a meeting, Lisa mentions that the country had been left in quite a financial mess thanks to President Trump. Again, something that most people wrote off as being a joke, but one that became all too real in November of 2016 when Donald Trump won the presidential election. Number 11, Censoring Art, Season 2, Episode 9.
Okay, what are your thoughts on that one, on the prediction of Donald Trump? Now, that's a little tough one for us to debunk.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it was a prediction, but maybe they want to make jokes, right? So the guy from this show about business, a person with a lot of psychological problems, I would say, one day he will be the president. I see as a way to make jokes, yes. So imagine if this could happen, right? And it happened. So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I just saw that one kind of got my eyebrows up, though, because they predicted him being the president. And there's going to be another one where they did this artwork where he's coming down an escalator, and it looks just like an actual picture of him coming down the escalator. Now, this is where it's going to get really creepy. So let's check out number 11, and then I think number 10, they're going to get back to Donald Trump. Okay, but yeah, you're right. I mean, when you're a writer and you do a lot of shows, and you're satirical and you're drawing from actual events, eventually you're going to hit the nail on the head. If you're, what I'm trying to say, if you're hitting, 20 and 30 subjects every episode, some of your episodes are going to, come true. But all right, but let's go to number 11.
One of the earliest Simpsons predictions to come true was broadcast in 1990. The 9th episode of the 2nd season showed how residents of Springfield protested the displaying of Michelangelo's David because of the nudity and insisted that it was covered up. Fast forward more than 25 years, and that's exactly what happened in St. Petersburg in Russia. A 16-foot-tall plastic replica of the world-famous statue was put up on show in the center of the city, but following complaints by parents and residents, and a poll was conducted to decide which clothes, if any, should be put on the statue to make it more appropriate. Number 10.
Yeah, see that one. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? Because it's like I don't know. I think they have an uncanny way. I think they have excellent writers, and they have a good way of tapping into the. I don't know the pulse of the collective morality, if you will, of society during a time, because I think there was all these movements emerging, including the sensitivity towards hip hop music and all this other kind of stuff that was coming. So I think tapping into the angst of some of the older Americans, and that being a subject, it's possible. I would love to sit down with the writers and see how they actually came up with some of these satirical pieces, but I think
knowing,
censorship.
but as you said, knowing the society, right? How people think, how they, what kind of interest they have, or discussions that they have in this society. Because you asked me if I knew this show, or this, I don't know how you describe this program, right?
Yeah.
And once you mentioned that, I told no, because in Brazil, yes, where I grew up, they changed the name of the shows, right? They have a Brazilian version, so I know that. And I used to watch that. Yes.
I didn't know. I didn't know that. I didn't know they had a Brazilian version. I wonder what does it look like? I mean, do they call it The Simpsons?
Yes, The Simpsons something, right? But how is the name of that in the United States? What you said?
The Simpsons. It's called The Simpsons.
Okay, and I remember I never really liked that, but I remember something. But of course, because I don't want to say I was a child, but maybe 11, 12 years old, I didn't have this understanding about society, and of course about the American society, because it's something that's very specific for Americans, right?
Right.
Also the critics that they bring, or the jokes. So,
right.
But the point is, this is what you said. They have folks work behind, sociologists, psychologists, and they interact with people to know, okay, what kind of topics we could bring, to make jokes, how people think, or how intelligent or stupid they are. So,
the things that to me that stick out is the art inception. That makes me raise my eyebrow. I'm not convinced that it's that they have some kind of crystal ball or could predict certain things. But when you see some of the artwork that they use, like the logo, that raised my eyebrow. And then also there's a picture, once again, of the escalator of when Trump is president. I think that was kind of very like, okay, now, something is amiss. How do you get the visual interpretation? Is life imitating art? Is the art imitating life?
Okay.
Is something else afoot here? Let's go to number 10. Folks, once again, if you want to comment, we do these shows sort of offline, but we do want to hear from you. The way to get to us is through info@goproradio.com. info@goproradio.com.
Horse Meat Scandal, Season 5, Episode 19. The quality of school dinners is always questionable, and in a 1994 episode of The Simpsons from Season 5, Lunch Lady Doris is dealing with a reduced budget and resorts to adding assorted horse parts to the meals in place of the meat she'd normally use. It turned out that this isn't as unusual as you may want to think. In 2013, a scandal took hold across Europe as it was discovered that horse meat was being used in products that had claimed they contained beef. At least 4.5 million pre-prepared dishes such as lasagna, chili, and burgers were sold throughout 13 countries and contained, in some cases, only horse meat. They were sold in supermarkets, given to patients in hospitals and to children in schools, and was one of the biggest food hygiene scandals of recent times. Now, much more stringent checks are in place to prevent it from happening again, but they probably should have just watched The Simpsons instead. Number 9, the Higgs boson particle.
Okay, see that one about food and food scandals. Well, I'm going to just talk about America, right? We have probably some of the. We have no idea what we're eating in this country. I think they're stricter in Europe and in other developed countries. There's just so much corruption, right? You have no idea what you're eating. Here, so many different things, as a matter of fact, qualify as beef. In fact, in America, horse meat qualifies as beef. Someone can fact check that and send it to me. But America, you have no idea what you're eating. The Food and Drug Administration, they're totally corrupt. And, there are foods that are sold in this country regularly that they would not be sold in other countries. They won't have. It's illegal. It's illegal to have in other countries. So I think doing a scandal on, horse meat and other places that might resonate with other people over the globe, but in America, like I said, because of it's a pay to play kind of thing, that there are no real watchdogs anymore. You have the Food and Drug Administration. It's totally, I don't even know what they do. They might as well just shut it down because it really is a free for all. I know kids who've been poisoned by lead because of products that have come out of some of these places. And it's like, who's mining the store? No one is, so I don't know if that's like one of those wild predictions. It's just, how did that episode hit you?
This,
What are your thoughts
again,
on this?
this is what you said. Everything's possible. I think it's not just in even the United States, yes. This kind of thing happened, right? Or I don't know, in other countries, it was not just in the United States, this case with horses, yes, horse meat, right? So if in these so-called countries that you have technology in the industries and everything, they are doing that. Can you imagine what they do in this third world country? So we cannot
Yeah,
try.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? Once it's packaged, I mean, it's in the process, and
Yes, we don't know if
you
they're
don't know
using
what it is.
human being meat. Can you understand? So we don't know. For these people, the most important thing is to make money, right? They
Right.
don't care about you, about the people who are living there, right? They will use everything to make money. We are, I don't want to use this word, but we are slaves until today, right? We don't know anything. We just receive things that they give us and accept that. Yes, we don't have the time to think. I was have a conversation today with someone about the situation when people they think they are free, we are not, right? So we just know what we will eat if we truly have the animals that we will have at home or something like that, right? If we plant and if we have a way to produce our own food. If we are going to supermarkets, we don't know. We really don't know.
Right. You're absolutely right on that. There's just so many. I would not be surprised to find human body parts in our food. I mean, really, like
Yeah.
nails. Here, it's just it is just such a and then there's so many films and documentaries on food and food processing centers and the way people do it. Human nails. Somebody lost something. Yeah. So, but anyway, just always I try to tell people all the time. Learn how to grow your own food. Try to eat as healthy as possible, but know that when you're eating something that is processed, that you are taking a risk. All right, so let's go to the next. Let's go to the next one. It's time. It's the halfway mark, guys. I have to do the ID. You are listening to the Tinfoil Afro Show with Miss German Chocolate, yeah, and me, Mr. Simon Says, and we're talking about this people call the Simpson ball, like you say crystal ball, the Simpson ball, and all of their predictions that seem to be, seem to have come true. That's the whole idea behind the word prediction, right? All right. So here's the next one, and we'll talk about it.
Just watch The Simpsons instead. Number 9, the Higgs boson particle, Season 8, Episode 1. The proof that the existence of the Higgs boson particle required the construction of the largest machine mankind has ever built, and was hailed as one of the greatest scientific discoveries of the last decade. But was all this effort actually needless, and all researchers needed was to watch an episode of The Simpsons? In the first episode of Season 8, Homer becomes an inventor and is surprisingly good at math. The show is known for hiding equations and ideas within the scripts, but at one point on a blackboard is a seemingly random equation. Now looking back, physicists say that this writing is actually a remarkably close description of the mass of a Higgs boson, and only works out to be a fraction larger than the true measurement that was made in the super collider at CERN. For The Simpsons to have got there 15 years earlier seems almost impossible to believe. Number 8.
Yeah, that one was kind of. What are your thoughts on that?
Again,
Yeah, they had a mathematical equation in the background that they said it was just slightly off.
but this again, yes, is this maybe this kind of information? It's difficult for us to have access to that, right? Okay, I have no idea about mathematics, so I would watch that and never pay attention. For us, regular people, ordinary people, it would be something that, oh my God, yes. But for folks, in my opinion, this director, people who works in the production of this kind of program, right? You are from the entertainment. I don't know. Normally, they must do research, right, or not. I don't know how people work in the backgrounds of this kind of show, but I suppose that certain kind of information when they have to want to write a story, they must have.
Yeah, folks, we want to know what you think. Is this predictions, or is it just coincidence, or it's just really great writing? And it could be just clever. Writers who really know a lot about what's going on in the world and interject all of their experiences in some way into their art. So, yeah, tell us what you think at info@goproradio.com, and maybe we'll read your comments on air. Okay, let's go to number 8.
Number 8, Nobel Prize winner, Season 22, Episode 1. The writers of The Simpsons have always had a close affinity to science, but this prediction shows just how on the pulse they actually are. When Season 22 premiered in 2010, Martin, Lisa, Milhouse, and a database make a betting pool for who they think will win the Nobel Prizes in each category that year. All of these are real people who are active in their respective fields, but incredibly, in 2016, one of them did actually win. Bengt Holmstrom from MIT was a joint winner of the Economics Prize, thanks to his work on contract theory and ideas of how to determine what should be government-owned and what should be controlled by private interests. Lisa was probably very upset with the announcement of this because the others are yet to win, and this presumably makes Milhouse a true future visionary. Number 7, Three-Eyed Fish.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much to see there. I think there are people who are doing outstanding work all the time in various fields when it comes to the Nobel Peace Prize. They give prizes in a limited amount of fields like economics and peace. The Nobel Peace Prize, and there's all these different things that people are doing. So I kind of feel like that's kind of, if you have a list of people who are at the top of their game, eventually, at some point, that person, if they continue in that field or that work, they will win.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's much to see there. You have thoughts on that before we go to number 7?
No, we can go to the next one. This one I want to say. I like, for me, it's maybe easier to accept or to process. Yes. When predictions connected to death or to catastrophe in the nature, or something like that? Or can you understand me? To put us in a kind of way to be at war, or some power is against us. So when I see that, I can, oh my God, so I can connect much more, because this kind of thing we can not do research. So we never know what's going to happen in the future, right?
That's right. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go to number 7, folks.
Season 2, Episode 4. One of the most famous episodes of The Simpsons from the second season was the one where Bart captures a fish in the pond near the nuclear power plant. Named Blinky, this fish had 3 eyes and led to the citizens of Springfield leading protests about the pollution being released into the environment. Luckily, mutations like this are extremely rare, but not unheard of. In 2011, a fisherman in Cordoba, Argentina, caught his very own Blinky from a reservoir near a nuclear power plant. It was a species of wolffish, and at first, he and his friends didn't notice because it was too dark. The next day, though, the reality became all too clear, and they couldn't decide whether they would eat it or not. It turned out that not only was this reservoir near the plant, but there was also a water outlet pipe that led straight into it, proving yet again that the Simpsons had the foresight to see what could happen in places like this. Number 6, smartwatches.
Yeah, that's another one that to me is.
I liked it.
You like that one with the 3-eyed fish?
Yeah.
That creeped me out, the little 3-eyed fish. But yeah, when people know that when, there's mutations, whenever you have, nuclear, byproducts and it goes into nature.
Also people, yes, they come
people.
to the world without an arm or a leg, or they have cancer, yes. So
Yeah.
this is a very great thing, right?
Yeah. I think, once again, clever writing. All right, let's go to number 6.
Season 6, Episode 19. The 19th episode of Season 6 saw the Simpsons visiting a Renaissance fair. Lisa soon found herself in the fortune teller's tent, and this set up another episode that was set in the future. It's difficult for most shows to show technology that will be around many years from now, but on this occasion, the Simpsons managed to get it spot on. One of the characters is seen using a watch that flips open and that he can talk into. It responds back to him with the information he needs, in what appears to be a premonition of the development of smartwatches. This episode aired in 1995, which is almost 20 years before the so-called Year of the Smartwatch in 2014. Now they're commonly seen across the country and are probably proudly owned by whichever Simpsons writer came up with this idea back in the 90s. Number 5.
Yeah. About that. There was a show I grew up on called Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy would wear a yellow coat, and he had a smartwatch. And this was all the way back in the, I would say, 70s.
Okay.
Yeah, in the 70s, there was a show called Dick Tracy. You can look it up, and, he would talk on his smartwatch. So the Simpsons didn't come up with smartwatches, or that concept of something on someone's wrist where they can communicate back and forth with someone and actually see them. That other people can get credit for that. Also, in a sci-fi 50s movie, there was someone with I think that was an episode of The Outer Limits or Twilight Zone or something like that, and that guy had a device that they were able to communicate on their wrists. There's also a prediction with an episode of Star Trek with the tricorder, where they can doctors can medically scan you, and now they can do that with their phone. So it's like almost your phone has become the Star Trek tricorder. So I think there's some just correlations with inventions and ideas. It's kind of like a stretch, but anyway, I digress. Let's go to number 5.
Siegfried and Roy Tiger, Season 5, Episode 10. Siegfried and Roy were once one of the world's leading magic acts, famed for performing with tigers and headlined at the Mirage Resort and Casino for over a decade in what was described as the most visited show in Nevada. Because of their notoriety, they featured in the 5th season of The Simpsons, in an episode that was broadcast in 1993, which began with the news that Springfield had legalized gambling. Homer took on a job as a blackjack dealer in Mr. Burns' new casino, and in the auditorium there was a magic act that parodied Siegfried and Roy's routine. While performing, however, they were mauled by one of their white tigers, and tragically this event came to pass in real life just 10 years later. During a performance in 2003, Roy was attacked by one of their white tigers called Manticore. It grabbed him by the neck while on stage and dragged him into the wings like he was a rag doll. Despite losing a large quantity of blood, he survived the incident, but suffered from life-changing injuries that meant he'd never be able to perform the same way again. Following this, the duo produced a show based on their act called Father of the Pride, and returned to the stage a few years later for several one-off shows before officially retiring from show business in 2010. Before we move on, be sure to...
Wow. What do you think about that?
This is the thing we miss. What's the name? Miss. I forgot the name. But we don't treat animals good and the nature good. So one day we get back. So exploitation.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. I think
Everything that I said is true. Oh my God! I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. I don't want to have a problem.
No, you're not gonna get in trouble.
He got
Free-
what he
free speech
deserved.
radio.
Sorry about that. He got what he deserved.
Yeah,
Sorry.
because actually, I always when I see large elephants doing things and all that, I always think about what did it take for them to train those animals? What level of
Yeah,
cruelty
this is the same
that they
same
have to?
thing that they used to train us,
Yeah,
train
right.
us,
Yeah.
and we don't react. The same drug,
Yeah, but
psychological.
yeah, I agree with you. I think I don't. That's why honestly I don't even go to zoos. I don't like to see
I
animals
really
in
hate
zoos.
that, or
I don't like
circuses, or I really
yeah.
don't like this
Yeah,
kind
I
of
don't go to
stuff.
circus. Yeah, I don't take my kids to that or anything like that. I don't think that's fun and cool. Anyway, but the fact that they predicted that would happen, I don't know. I think that's kind of like, I have to be careful saying prediction because I think that the fact that they wrote that into the show, and it happened 10 years later. People may know that these people are cruel to animals, and know one day that the animals will get back at them. One of these days you're going to get your comeuppance. So be good to animals. Let's go to the next one.
Lines around the world are instantly recognizable. If you think of New York or Paris, there are certain buildings that you would expect to see in a drawing of them. But in an episode from 1995, the Simpsons animators appear to have got London extremely wrong. The season 6 episode, which was set in the future, showed Big Ben and Tower Bridge, but there was a peculiarly shaped skyscraper further to the left that looked like no building in the city at all. That was until 14 years later when plans were submitted and accepted for a new structure called the Shard. Now completed, it's the tallest building in London and offers views across the entire city. It's known for having an unusual design, particularly at the top where it only looks half finished. But this seems almost exactly how it was shown in the Simpsons episode all those years before. Not only does the structure look just like the Shard, but its position in London is virtually identical in the cartoon to where it was built in real life too. Either the owners of it took inspiration from the show, the Simpson producers had seen the plans way ahead of time, or it's more proof that they have a knack for predicting the future like no one else.
Yeah. So yeah. When that's the thing that's to me that is the most suspicious element is when they get the art. Like I told you, the 20th century logo. That was a division, of Disney, whatever. That was kind of suspect. When they had the Donald Trump on the escalator, that was really like, oh wow, that raised my eyebrow. And this one was the number 4 was another one that was very curious to me. Like, how do you get the artwork to match the reality? So that to me is the ones that are. I would just say
For you,
more curious. To me, what are your thoughts on it?
Most exact.
again, so
Like, how do you get architecture? How do you draw certain things? Do you think that people were inspired by it? Like, the designers saw it and said, "Oh yeah, let's do it like the Simpsons, the cartoon."
it can be. So I think from both sides. So they have people work behind that drawing, have ideas, right? So and others that get inspired, but I truly don't see as a prediction. It's not something that can be predicted. So that are, my opinion, truly, they have this information, not the information that think will look in this way, right?
Right.
But they have people behind. This is okay. In this case, I think maybe it's almost like the case with Lady Gaga, right? So maybe they were inspired by Simpsons to create a new thing, because we tend to forget things. This is like the case of certain singers that they use the beat of someone from, I don't know, 50 years ago, and after that they get problem with copywriting or something like that, because we tend to forget, right? Things that we saw in the past, and we use get inspiration, and later we get a problem with copywriting.
And honestly, too, after what you said, I was thinking that a lot of people, when we see these buildings go up, sometimes they're 10 years in the making. People, maybe somebody had a relationship with somebody and said, hey, we're thinking about building this building. And one of the writers were at a party. Writers, they hang out at clubs and parties and things, and they hear conversations, and they say, hey, I'll write that into the show. And then it ends up happening, I mean, I don't know if it happened that way, but I'm just offering a theory as to how accurate they can get some of the writings. But these, the logos and the artwork, to me, is like, how do you envision something so accurately? It's interesting. It'd be interesting to investigate, Okay, so let's go to the next one.
The Corruption Scandal, Season 25, Episode 16. In the 16th episode of the 25th season, which was broadcast in 2014, Lisa gave a speech to her classmates in which she talks about Homer and mentions that there was a time when he gave her a red card and sent her off from a soccer game that he was refereeing. A video of this speech went viral and led to Homer being called by FIFA, the world governing body for the sport, to referee some matches in the World Cup in Brazil. The reason they needed his help was that they had found themselves short-handed after finding out about massive corruption in the sport, and Homer goes on to do a good job and sees the German team winning the tournament. In this episode, the show actually managed to get 2 predictions spot on. The first was that Germany did win the World Cup that very same year, and the second was that the following year FIFA became embroiled within one of the biggest cases of corruption in recent times. Staff from across the organization, including those at the top of the sport, were arrested and sacked for allegations of bribery, fraud, and money laundering, and it sent shockwaves throughout world sport. Luckily, though, it has never quite led them to needing to hire a dad from Springfield to officiate any of their high-profile games. Number 2.
Prediction. I think it was a prediction.
Because when there's corruption, that means people know about it, right? Somebody's been paid, somebody knows about the corruption, and people probably know that there's been corruption for a very long time, especially when you're dealing with all kinds of countries who have a lot of reach, influence, and money. Yeah, I don't think that should have been number 3. That should have been probably 13. Because corruption, somebody's involved, people know about it, and people talk, guys talk, what do you call that, pillow talk, and I got this money, and and then people know outcomes and say, wait a minute, this team was a better team, Brazil should have won. and it's interesting that Brazil was taking on Germany. I thought you would get a kick out of that.
Yeah, okay. I'm not a fan of sports, but I remember that, right? Yeah. It was.
Interesting. Okay, we got 2 more, folks.
Faulty voting machines. Season 20, Episode 4. The Simpsons have never shied away from highlighting social injustices and commenting on our reliance on technology, and the 4th episode of the 20th season again managed to predict the future with frightening accuracy. It was a Treehouse of Horrors special, and during the opening scene, Homer has gone to vote. He's at the machine and is trying to select Barack Obama, but it always registers the vote for John McCain instead. He tries to vote 6 times, including once where he presses McCain's name in the hope that it selects Obama. But in the end, he's forced to give up because no matter what he did, the vote always ended up showing the same. Not wanting to cast a vote like this, he heads off to report it so it can be fixed. But the machine didn't want him to reveal the secret. It sucked him in, killed him, and then spat out again before Jasper puts an I voted sticker on his forehead. Strangely, this wasn't too far from what would happen just 4 years later, and there are concerns it may be more common than anyone realizes. In the 2012 election, when Obama was up for his 2nd term, a video emerged from Pennsylvania. In it, a man was trying to vote for the incumbent president, but whenever he did, it would instead select Mitt Romney. When asked for comment, representatives from the Republican Party claimed that the opposite had been reported happening too, and it understandably raised some concerns about the accuracy of the machines. Those who encountered the problem said that everything had worked fine if they tried to vote for someone else, and that it would only happen if they selected Obama's name, which made them further suspicious of why this was happening. The voter who recorded the video eventually found one part of the screen he could touch that would register it properly, and was apparently told by a poll worker that this means there wasn't any problem at all. Once the video went viral, however, the machine was removed to be recalibrated. But by this time, it's unclear how many votes had been affected. The Simpsons writers yet again predicted future issues that may be faced by the increasing use of technology in such important processes, like voting. And if people either don't trust that it's working properly or it actively registers your vote for someone else entirely, then it's a problem that goes to the heart of a democracy. With recent concerns about the possibility that hackers from an enemy state might be able to access large numbers of these machines to affect the outcome of an election, this might be one Simpson prediction that comes true time and time again.
Yeah, I agree with that. Once you go digital, to me, you never know, because it becomes who can control or who has access to outcomes. You know what I'm saying? To what the computer will eventually say. Oh, this person won. You saw the guy kept clicking one person. It was another. I think that's one of the obvious, but I think that there are some other insidious ways that hackers can get into the voting system once it becomes crunched down to ones and zeros, and can manipulate how many votes a person got. I think when it comes to voting, it should be paper. It should be something that's verifiable, people can sign and things like that. I don't like that it's in this digital world, and you get hacked all the time. I was recently hacked on a whole film project, so to me it's like hacking is real. People can really get access to people's computer servers and all this other kind of stuff. And although they say, oh, it's safe, it's super safe, America has some of the top hackers working for them. So if they wanted to manipulate a certain outcome, and this is why I don't vote. I'm not into the whole thing. I think there's no democracy. My feeling.
Okay,
We've done a show about that, but
I agree. I agree to a certain point, right? Because I really don't think that just because technology, we will deal with corruption just because of technology. I truly don't agree with that.
Well, it's who controls the technology. Technology in and of itself is fine, but if someone is controlling the technology,
yeah, but who
because
controls?
they have
If we go also with these papers, I in Germany they use a paper, right? I used to work for after the election to help to count and everything, because the way how they vote here is totally crazy. It's very difficult to understand, right? But the point is, if I'm not saying that people here are corrupt, I'm not saying that, but in general, and this is how I see the reality. If corruption will, for corruption, these people will always find a way, with papers or not, right? There are a lot of scandals from companies where they show papers with like balance sheet, where they change the numbers to show that the company has money or something like that. It's paper. Can you understand me? So we don't have any guarantee that because we are using technology or papers that things will be 100%. If, for example, we don't know behind the doors, they have the folks there that they choose to count and to put the information on the papers, we don't know who we are dealing with. People, they can look like a normal citizen, but they can work also for this government and do right things in the way how they want to have.
Right. My thing is this, right? As long as there are people with money and corruption, you could always manipulate outcomes. But
everything, papers and technology.
But with technology, I think it's easier and more insidious, and people can get away without some kind of. If somebody, for example, had 3 bags and they threw away 1 bag of votes that was more likely to go for their opponents, right? At least there is something physical. See, and it's the thing about the physical world. You can forensically figure out what's going on. It's very difficult to forensically look into the digital world if you have people who are really good at hacking. They can literally erase people's lives. They can erase even the footprint of something. That's why I like, even if it's physical and somebody burned, somebody said there's smoke, somebody has burned X amount. Oh, who did it? You can find the people. You can the likelihood of tracing that corruption. That's all I'm saying. People are corrupt. You're absolutely right. I agree with you. But I think tracking the corruption is more difficult when it's digital. Like, we really don't know who voted. We really don't know. I mean, if somebody had to, okay, will you bet your firstborn? Will you bet your life on so and so? You would have to think about it, because you say, wait a minute, there is some information, there's some access that we might not even ever or may not ever know. So that's why I think the whole process, when it's digital like that, I just don't trust it. Let's go to the next one.
Number 1, Donut-Shaped Universe, Season 10, Episode 22. With such a love of math and science, it seemed only natural that one of the world's foremost physicists would make an appearance in The Simpsons. So when the writers found out that Stephen Hawking was going to guest star, they had an opportunity to put him in a room with the world's dumbest person. While sat in Moe's Tavern drinking a beer, Hawking ended up admitting that your theory of a donut-shaped universe is intriguing. I may have to steal it. Just a few years later, new modeling of the universe's creation started to suggest that the donut theory might in fact be the case. Instead of being an infinite structure, it's now believed to be finite and continuously wraps back in on itself. A number of observations, such as unexpected ripples in the fabric of space-time, are pointing towards it, and means that possibly Homer is far more intelligent than anyone had given him credit for.
Your theory of a donut-shaped universe is intriguing, Homer. I may have to steal it.
Subscribe to Top 5s for more, and check out some of our other popular videos.
Thanks, Top 5, for those predictions, Simpsons. But there's so many more. Folks, if you go online, you'll see that there are somebody had 35 predictions. And are they predictions? I don't know. I would say the creator. Folks who don't know, The Simpsons, they were created by a guy named Matt Groening. Groening. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right, Mike Groening. And then he has significant contributions from a guy named James L. Brooks and Sam. I like Sam Simon because he has my name, Simon Says, during its development for television. Now, Matt Groening, he originally created the Simpsons series as a short part of this British show called The Tracy Ullman Show. Now, I remember Tracy Ullman Show, very hilarious woman. And they would have these cartoons in the middle called The Simpsons. So The Simpsons came out of the Tracy Ullman Show, and he based the characters on members of his own family. Matter of fact, he named them after his parents and siblings, with Bart being an what do you call that? An anagram for brat. So Bart Simpson is really like a brat. But Groening was known for his underground comic strip called Life in Hell before The Simpsons. So, he has a long career in doing this kind of edgy, irreverent kind of stuff, and hanging out with really great writers. Definitely, I think the creators of The Simpsons have connections with, people who may be connected with secret societies. They might not be in secret society, but as a writer, and I know a lot of writers are some of the most fascinating people. They do all kinds of research. They love speculative fiction, and they love theorizing on things. It is their job in many instances. I'm talking about creative writers. It's their job to kind of think and ponder ideas. I kind of love it. That's why I love speculative fiction. And, for them to throw out all these darts every week on their shows, sooner or later, those darts are going to hit on something. So I'm not saying that, we should totally dismiss whether or not there is some predictive capabilities of, Matt along with James and Sam Simon. But I would also say that, as creative writers, and it's their job to be edgy and irreverent, shows, for example, that predict like the presidency and all that. Um, I think it's not as random as you might think. I think it really shows that the show um, really knows about the what do you call it, the pulse, if you will, of of the people, of the world, of the society that we are all a part of. So, folks, I'd like to say thank you for listening. I hope that you guys were intrigued. If you have any questions or comments or concerns about the show, what you just saw, and if you have any information and insight that you have and you'd like to share and would like us to share, please send it to info@goproradio.com. I want to thank you and Miss German Chocolate for being here and watching our episodes. And if you also have show ideas, oh, by the way, I also want to give a shout out to Paul Tyson, who sent us the clip. Send us the clips, send us the information, and maybe we'll talk about it right here on the Tinfoil Afro Show. Thank you guys for listening, and until I see you again, I want everybody to remember to start where you are. Use what you have and do what you can, and know that you, that's right, you, that person in the mirror, are enough. Okay? So until next week, this is the Tinfoil Afro Show. I'm Simon Says, along with Miss German Chocolate.
Yeah. Thank
That was
you.
your cue. We're signing off, and we will see you later.
Yep.
Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace.